This theory of motivation states that maybe we are motivated to do things because doing these things creates a feeling of arousal once they have been done or are being done. In this theory, people are motivated by the excitement they feel when they do particular things, which could explain when people do bad things that create good arousal feelings. For instance, seeking poor relationships because they are exciting, or drinking excessively because of the way it makes them feel. In the arousal theory of motivation, the idea is that each person has a level of arousal to be met, and this level varies from person to person. This is why certain people prefer more intense activities than others. For example, skydiving versus reading. Incentive theory is, in this theory of motivation, people do things because they want to accomplish goals. You might be motivated to run a marathon because you want to achieve a goal of running a certain distance. You might be motivated to finish a college course because you want to achieve a diploma at the end of the class. The next is Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Uh, they are as follows: self-actualization, aesthetic needs, need to know, self-worth, love and belonging, safety and physiological needs. Maslow mentions that physiological safety, love and belonging, and self-worth fell into deficiency needs. The remaining needs were described as growth needs. Growth needs, on the other hand, were needs that once met increased motivation. So now, what is the most effective method of motivation? If you reward your children for doing their homework, they will usually respond by getting it done. But is this the most effective mode of motivation? No, says psychologist Edward Deci, who challenges traditional thinking and shows that this method actually works against performance. The best way to motivate people at school or at work or at home is to support their sense of autonomy. We are all inherently interested in the world. So instead of asking, how can I motivate people, we should be asking, how can I create the conditions within which people will motivate themselves? So, pay people enough to take the issue of money off the table and focus on the following three factors that lead to better performance and personal satisfaction. They are relatedness, autonomy, mastery, and purpose. So this is all I want to say about motivation. Thank you.
Good afternoon, and thank you for being here. Come up in front and give yourselves a round of applause for being here. And you've been a great audience. It's not a comfortable hall. I do understand it's a bit hot, warm. So I've been noticing people open the door, feel the heat, and run away. But you stayed. You stayed for a reason. You know what your reason is. And what motivates you? Is it motivation that you want to get in touch with? Is it the understanding of motivation that you want to get in touch with? What is it? I'm a writer by profession. My affair with language started when I was 12 years old. I used to write poetry as a girl, a lonely girl because I didn't have siblings, I didn't have anybody to share my feelings with, so I wrote it on paper. I called them, people who read it said they were poems. Grew up, got busy with studies, got married, stopped writing poetry. What happened there? Did my love for words kind of disappear? Don't think so. Because it went on. And later on in life, I realized I came to a stage where I wanted to do something with my words. I thought I'll probably start a tutoring section or do something at home. And then the doors opened and I found out how to be a writer, a freelance writer. And I still am that. But I like to call myself a wordsmith now because I'm at a different level with my affair. And it's really going crazy. I have a blog where I put my quotes in. Please, have a seat. So I put my quotes there because I think words are powerful. They create thought. So in my understanding, and from what I've been listening about motivation, two things drive you. It's either pain or pleasure. I used to write poetry because it was painful for me to be alone. I write articles because it's a pleasure for me to see my byline. And I see myself more driven in that direction because it gives me a kick. It gives me a motivation to do better, to see more of my name there. So what is it that is your pain? What is it that is your pleasure? When you want to lose weight, are you losing weight because you want to look good for a party? Or are you looking good are you losing weight because you want to be healthy? So if you want to lose weight to be healthy, you will continue on that journey of growing, losing, and staying at the optimal level. However, if it's to reach an X level, you kind of lose the drive after you get gotten there. No, it's all right. I thought it was for me. So yeah, you lose the drive. So when do people change jobs? It's either because there's something very lucrative at the other place, or the place that they are in is really, really getting difficult. So is it pain that you want to drive yourself away from, or is it pleasure that you're driving yourself towards? And most often, the motivation stays when you're driving yourself towards something that is more pleasurable, more rewarding than pain, because we as humans have great capacity to endure pain, and we just enjoy being in the victim mode. It's a story. It's a story. We just love our stories. I mean, tell me, if I was lonely, oh God, I wrote poetry. Poor me. Yes. I have had people's attention. Byline, freelance writer, Ruqayya Khan, in the papers. Not everybody is going to notice, but I notice. People who care about me and are proud of me notice. So that drives me forward. So being a victim is easy, but taking control, moving forward, and taking the risk, I think that takes a lot of, God, I'm saying the word motivation so many times and I have to look for something else. But yes, it really drives you forward when you move towards something that you're looking forward to. And that's the thing I'd like to leave you with. What are your drives? Is it something that you're running away from, or is it something that you're running towards? And it's okay if you fall when you run, because you do know that when you were little, you fell a couple of times, but you stood up. Your mom didn't tell you, oh God, this baby's just not going to stand up. She didn't leave you there. Why are you doing that to yourself? You know, these are things that you kind of have to go through. And if that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow is really, really something you want, you go over the rainbow, all over the colors, and get there. And you might get a bit colorful all the way there. Sometimes you'll be blue, sometimes you'll be pink. Sometimes you go green for money. Who knows which color sticks? So I think it's worth a try. No, it's not worth a try. It's worth going for.
That was one of the most rushed talks that I have ever been through. So quite a few, well done, ma'am. That was good. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. But so there are a lot of things that I had to bypass. One of the things that I think is important to bear in mind, and this is with reference to what I was talking about with regard to the drives, they work in tandem. So for you and me, they don't work in isolation. Most of our actions are a combination of two drives, at times more than two drives. So if I want to make a lot of money, it's not just because I'm materialistically driven, it's also because I want to give my family a very happy life. It could also be because I want to contribute to charity and give a better life to a lot of people. So you have a spiritual drive, in some way contributing to this material drive of mine, and you have a bit of emotional drive contributing to this material drive of mine. So no drive works in isolation, it's always in combination. I thought this was an important bit, so I point that one out to you. In case there are any questions for the ladies or me, please go ahead. Yes, please.
I know we are the Women's Forum, but my question is there a different motivation for men and for women towards the same goal? I have my doubts. Is there a different for anyone?
Okay.
Are we, women or men, motivated differently because of gender? I would love to hear from each of you.
Yeah, okay. To my mind, the basic drives remain constant. It's the conditioning that we go through over the years as we grow up that defines us later in our lives. So, and drives are conditioned, usually. You grow up in a very spiritual environment, you're more spiritually driven most of the time. I'm not saying there won't be exceptions, there would be exceptions. So the way women are conditioned, particularly in societies like ours or in African societies, or even some of the European, Eastern European societies particularly, you'll find that they're conditioned differently. And they're conditioned to believe that they're more emotionally driven than otherwise, right? Which to my mind is not necessarily true. Probably we men, we want to protect our bastion, so we condition them that way. But I believe that we are all driven in the same manner. We have the same kind of drives. It's just that the manifestation is different because of the conditioning that we go through the years at different stages of our lives. Yeah.
My understanding of motivation, not as a woman or as a man, but as somebody who I am, is we're all driven by trust. And I think that somebody who's driven by trust in self and trust in their circumstances, trust in the people around them, does move a lot further in life than somebody who's looking outward at what's going on. If you do trust yourself, that surely reflects in the way you manage things and do things. And when you reflect positivity, it definitely comes back to you. And if it's not coming back to you, you're probably sitting in the wrong room. There are no mirrors around you. That really means that they can't take who you are. So I think trust is what drives overall.
Any more?
Come on, come on.
Yeah.
Power, poetry, yes. I've stopped writing poetry. No, really, I love that I did. Because for me, poetry was a place of being sad and lonely, and I'm not anymore. The last poem I wrote was when I was expecting my baby, my firstborn, and that's it. And she came along, and then I went and moved in with my husband, who was at that point in UAE, and that's it. That was the end of my loneliness. No, I'm not saying my parents weren't caring. It's just that I was a teenager at that point, and there were things that I would probably not want to share with them. I lived through the Gulf War, so at that point, that was the point when I actually started writing poetry. So I don't write poetry anymore, but I do write articles, and apart from articles, I've started writing quotes, because I really think thoughts are powerful, and when you read somebody else's thoughts, you also start